How to properly measure bearing clearances. Now you don't need to get crazy with the tools, you just need some kind of outside micrometer that's going to be the right sizes you need for measuring your crank. And you can get by with just a cheap dial bore gauge. These ones are an iGaging brand. I'm pretty sure they're less than $100 for a set. While maybe not being the most accurate because they're half a thou graduations, it's pretty easy to, guesstimate the tenths based on where the needle lands. But the important part here is we're just making a comparative measurement. So what the actual sizes and numbers are really doesn't matter, because we're going to take our micrometer, we're going to measure our journals on our crankshaft, write that all down, and then we're going to set our gauge with the same micrometer to 0, and that way when we go and measure our bearings in our connecting rods when they're all torqued up, or our main caps when they're all torqued up, we are measuring the actual bearing clearance. Now I like to write out the sizes just like this as far as doing it. Make sure you know what you need to torque your specs to. This is not normal. Normally I would measure every single journal and I'd be measuring it like top to bottom and then 90 degrees to that. That way if there's any out around in there, you're able to average out that number. And I'd be writing down what the two directions are. However, this crankshaft was ground by Shaft Tech, and the entire crank, all the journals of the mains and all the journals of the rods are 1/10 variation. It's amazing. I did check them all. I just didn't waste my time writing it down because they were all exactly the same, which is awesome. It's probably the best crankshaft grinding I've ever seen. Now that's not normally the case, so like I said, I'd go through, check them, and come up with an average size for that. Now when I go to measure my bearing clearances, even if I had a half a thou variation in between, I just kind of pick a middle number, and then when we go and measure each individual rod or main, we'd be able to make a calculation and either add in or subtract that couple of tenths just based on which one it specifically is. So once we've got our size with our micrometer, then we can just come in and set it off of our gauge. And we're just looking for our needle to sweep to 0. And there, now it's set. So now when we come over here to our connecting rods, I want to just set it down flat on the surface, that way we can bottom out the gauge. So I'm able to put it in here. I'm going to measure the vertical. Right there we've got about 2.7, but that's not going to be the only measure I'm going to take. I'm also going to do about a 45-degree angle. There I've got 3 and a 45 the other way. Is 2.6. Now this is nothing concerning. This has to do with the fact that bearings have taper in them, because they're meant to be bigger at the parting line. That way when the rod distorts under load, it actually pulls closer to round. So we had our 3.2 and our 2.6. So I'm going to average on the diagonals. I'm going to average those two. So because we're taking this and this, and we're just going to go to an average. So between 2.6 and 3.2, it's 6 difference. So that's going to put us at 2.9. Our vertical was 2.7. So the oil bearing clearance that I would call on this rod is going to be 2.8. And that's the easy part about doing this, is you're just measuring the actual clearance, and the only calculations you really need to do is if you had some variation in the crankshaft itself. Now, every rod's going to have a little variation, and as you saw when we went to the diagonals, one side was a little bit big, one side was a little bit small. That's why we averaged those two. And then we averaged that average against the vertical average to get a true bearing clearance. Now, we're not going to the parting line because that taper, it's always going to be extra big at the parting line. And when it's in the engine and running, we're not getting any load in that direction. The load is all up and down on the rod bearing. And then same thing when it's in the block here. All of the load is in the cap. It's not at the parting line. So we don't need to worry about that, because in reality, when everything averages out, our load is in this direction. So the farther away from that vertical we get, the less and less important it is. But it's big so that when it's running, it'll pull in. I can't recommend enough, always be measuring oil bearing clearance like this. Do not use plastic gauge, it's inconsistent and not very accurate. This, when you're measuring the clearance, like we're not measuring the housing and then adding the bearing. No, the bearings are in the housing. We are literally doing a direct measurement from the size of the crankshaft is what we set our gauge to, and then we're measuring the clearance. Like there's no math way to screw this up or to just have inconsistencies, because if you've never actually checked, like bearing to bearing can change, especially in some manufacturers where they just don't have the tolerance of keeping a set. Just because the bearings are in a box doesn't mean that they're all matched to each other, and it's pretty easy to end up in a situation where you start measuring your clearances and we might be a half a thou different here and there, and then you can start mixing and matching bearing halves in order to average those out if you have to. And I don't like needing to do that, so I try to stick to brands where the sizing is more accurate, but it is something that you can run into, and you're not going to ever notice that without measuring it this way so that you can actually know. Now this is the perfect example of why we want to measure. So this crankshaft is a new crankshaft, but it was sized to be matched to the old crankshaft. And just because we've got a different set of bearings, the clearances are quite a bit different. Rods are pretty close. We only got one outlier of 2, which is a little tight of the other ones at 2.4. Still totally fine for the oil that I'm planning on running. And I'm not concerned about that being too tight, even though it's a little bit tighter than the other ones. Now our mains, on the other hand, are about a thou looser than the old setup. And that's not necessarily because anything is good or bad one way or the other. It's just this set of bearings happens to have a little bit of extra clearance. The extra 7/10 on the rear main cap, that's totally normal for an Oldsmobile. That's actually in the bearing because the engine block is machined the same size all the way through, and our crankshaft is the same size all the way through. So that's in the bearing itself. Now, because of this extra valve oil clearance here, I've been with around 3.5 and around 2.7 on the rods. So the rods are pretty close. Mains are what's bigger. I was running 1540, perfectly normal oil weight. For this, however, with the 4.5, that's getting a little bit on the loose side. I'm still going to start with 1540 and see how the oil pressure looks. As long as it's maintaining, because I do have a full dry sump, it's not going to be really an issue, I don't think. However, if we do see where oil pressure tends to be just a little bit lower than maybe I want, or it has been, I can always switch to a 2050 and I'll probably get that oil pressure right back and be totally fine. But I'd prefer to stick with the 1540 just because it's a street driven car. It's not always super warm outside when we get going in the morning. So a thinner oil is going to be a little bit more desirable just for cold starts. But this is why we check, because it is different. If I wouldn't have checked this at all and just put it all together, assuming everything was the same, I wouldn't have known that we actually have this and that a thicker oil might be the option that we need. Or because this is just unique, I could order 2, 3, 4, 5, how many ever different sets of this same bearing part number, and I might get a little bit tighter, a little bit looser, and have move around. And even if I change brands, this little size will change. So that's why you know, one set of bearings is not comparable to another set. You always need to check. And now that I've checked my bearing clearances, I'm ready to get the camshaft put in this thing, start putting the crankshaft in, and get it all assembled today.